Hey, I'm Carlos Garcia, and today we're going to go over some Remus products. So we're doing like the Babe Ruth, now the Lou Gehrig kind of releases, and then the experimental lines all kind of together. So we have the Remus Babe Ruth that came out a couple years ago, and then the one from last year. And we have this year's Lou Gehrig, same bottle, kind of the same situation. And on the back, they have a QR code that you can scan. You enter in the bottle number, which represents a plate appearance for Lou Gehrig and the Babe Ruth on these. So I think the black label one was plate appearances, and I think the white one was hits or something like that. I 100% forgot, but if you scan the back of the QR code, it tells you a lot more details. I just did this the other day, kind of see if the Lou Gehrig was any kind of special like home run or anything. It didn't seem like it was. For sure he went 0 for 4 that day or whatever it was when I looked it up. We also have the Remus. This is number 2. This is the one that just came out. Oh, prices. So the Babe Ruths were $150 and this year's Lou Gehrig is $130, so $20 cheaper, so that's nice. Another line that Remus puts out is the Experimental Series, and this is the one that just came out this year, Experimental number 2, and this is a wheat whiskey. Found that out recently after trying it. So this is wheat whiskey finished in tawny port, white port, Oloroso sherry, and ruby port cask, 113 proof. Something someone could have slapped a cigar label right on top of. And we have the first years. Came out last year, and these are $65. If I didn't say it already, this is Series 1. This is a straight bourbon aged in single Moreau barrel. So that's just the barrel that they were aged in. You know, sometimes you hear like Kelvin and stuff like that. That was the experiment last year, but definitely more of a finished wheated product this year. Very different between these two. Let's see how they all score and how they taste today. I haven't been the most positive on the Babe Ruths, a lot because the price is $150 for what they are, just doesn't make sense. Now the Lou Gehrig dropped down in price, and I've had it recently and I actually enjoyed it. So if it can beat out the Babe Ruths in this lineup, and I'd be more excited about that price point. It's still kind of expensive, but for these, for $65, especially this new one, the wheat one that's finished in 4 different things, it has to be pretty crappy for it not to be worth the $65. So we'll get into this blind right now. All right, let's get into the noses, and go to A. All right, a pretty good nose, kind of right down the middle of home plate on what a bourbon nose is. I even wrote bourbon. So sweet, bourbon, oak, spicewood, and I usually don't use bourbon as a note, but that's your sweetness, your caramels, your oaks. It smells like a bourbon, but it did have, so I move around my nose. I know I cut all this stuff out, but I kind of move my nose around in the glass, and on the lower of the glass, you know where I learned that from? I'm giggling because like in my head, when we learned about this at an Old Forester, we did an Old Forester tour, you do a tasting, and the lady was explaining how you could put your nose on top of it, like literally on top of the glass and like on the bottom of the glass, and you'll get different notes. And so sometimes I remember to do this, and when I was lower on the glass, I got this nice spicy wood note. So anyways, I know some of the guys that were on that tour with me was like, you have to talk about this in one of your videos. And I might have already, but you know, I giggle when I actually do it because I remember. Okay, let's go to B. All right, B is very, very different than A. Immediately a lot of sour notes, and again, I'm not gonna say that's not off-putting. But sour, wood, dusty, slight nutty, slight dark fruit, but overall it's very sour forward. I think that would be off-putting for a decent amount of people, but we'll see how the palate is. The nose isn't my favorite, so go see. All right, C on the nose, kind of one direction. It's intense. Oak, slight permanent black marker note, peanut hazelnut. So nutty, oaky, like kind of darker profile. Not sweet really, not any kind of fruits were coming out. You know, not my favorite nose. Let's go to D. Okay, immediately, because I usually cut this out until I write everything down, but right away, I'm also getting that permanent black marker note, but much lighter, not as well, it's kind of intense. It's just not as like dark around that permanent black marker note. Oh, I'll see what happens. It does have some of that permanent black marker note, nutty, just like C was, but there's a vanilla red fruit there to kind of balance it a little bit more, where C was more directly kind of just those notes. D kind of softened it a little bit, but I feel like it had a little bit more permanent black marker note on it than C. Let's go to E. All right, it started off okay. So it was lighter than the rest of them. Sweet, vanilla, nothing off-putting. The more I started nosing it, I was getting this medical note, medicinal note. I literally was gonna write Band-Aid or ethanol. It was something definitely from a hospital. So I don't know. So I just wrote a medicinal note. Again, I would say A is probably my favorite nose. I think by far. It's the only one that didn't have anything off-putting, so we'll go with that. But let's see how the palates are. All right, A on the palate, pretty decent. I did enjoy that. Sweet oak chocolate, red fruit, dark fruit, and this whole experience kind of reminded me of like a chocolate-covered strawberry. I mean, top 3 dessert type things. I love chocolate covered strawberries. On the finish, sweet oak, nutty, medicinal cherry, almost into that chloroseptic cherry note that I get sometimes. Almost gave me that feeling. But I wrote medicinal cherry. We'll see if the second and third sip kind of keep going that way. It's so weird that that note kind of pops up once in a while, but it's always on the finish. It's never on the palate. All right, let's go with second sip. I mean, I really enjoyed it. So on this time, again, I got a lot of that red fruit, but I got some more vanilla and then like a cornbread note. I don't think I've ever said that note before. Because in my head, it was like, it's somewhat bready, but it's not like doughy or anything like that. And like it clicked in my head like a cornbread direction. But overall, that palate is complex and good. I do like that a lot. On the finish, I got some more red fruit this time, which a medicinal cherry was kind of in that red fruit realm, but it didn't go medicinal on me this time. It was just more like a good red fruit. I mean, that's pretty good. I do like this. Now, if this is one of the $150 bottles, I don't know if I like it that much. Interesting. So on the palate this time, more of that oak kind of attacked my tongue on the sides. And so I didn't get a lot of the nicer fruits, nicer flavors. So that kind of lowered the palate in my head for me a little bit there. But the finish tasted a little bit better this time. So I guess it balanced it out. A little coffee on the lingering note now. I'm not even going to write that down because I didn't get any of the time. But overall, really, really good. I do enjoy A. So let's go to the sour one and see how it is on the palate. Well, I can say I don't like B coming off of A. We'll see how it is on the second sip. It tasted young to me. I wrote corn, oak, young on the finished popcorn. Not a lot of notes. There was more notes to that, but I was just so confused by this. Also, what really distracted me is I put my board backwards. Oopsie. So you guys can possibly read the notes. I don't know if it actually shows or anything, but I just looked down. I was like, this is backwards. So let me pay attention this time. Get distracted easily. B on the second sip. Yeah, I'm not a biggest fan of B. The nose didn't help, but the palate, I wrote dark fruit this time, but still corn forward, youngish. And none of these should be young. None of these should taste young anyways. On the finish, still that like kind of popcorny note, oak, red fruit. One more sip. All right, nothing new on the palate, still youngish. On the finish, I wrote spiced wood, trying to give it something, I guess. I didn't like that too much, which is unfortunate. Even if that's one of the $65 bottles, I don't think it's really worth that. Hopefully it's not one of the 150 bottles. Okay, see, I will say, at least the first three, they all been very different from each other, which is good, especially if you're like buying these bottles and, you know, maybe you're a big Babe Ruth fan or a Yankees fan or a baseball fan, and you're collecting these and you just want different experiences. I don't know if all three of these were that series, but these three were very different from each other. So right away it gave me perma black marker note, but quickly transitioned into oak, sweet, a green grape, green apple note, and then it like clicked in my head, green Jolly Rancher note with the sweetness and that green fruit. On the finish though, kind of was a letdown. It was very, very light, a little bit of oak, a little bit of sweetness, but not that much on the finish. So we'll see if the finish gets any better this time. And just like that, the finish got way better. It heard me talking shit. Okay, so I got a little bit more nuttiness on the palate, a little bit more nuttiness on the finish, more rich on the finish this time. It wasn't light like the first time. It was much bolder, richer, still lingering. It's not overly complex, but you know it's there. So that definitely improved, but still had that perma black marker note on the palate, which you know, I am not the biggest fan of that note. It has to be very slight as like kind of a small note, part of a bunch of other notes for me to tolerate it basically. But if it's one of like the key notes to it, not gonna score well. Your third sip. You know, when you drink as much as, you know, some people do, not this guy. I drink not that much at all. But when you drink as much as some people do, your brain doesn't understand how some things like this happen, right? I say how the second sip, the finish was so much better. And then the third sip, it goes right back to being light again. And on the palate, it even kind of muted itself out. Because I was even saying like, oh, there's not that much permanent black marker note on this third sip. But there wasn't much of anything on the third sip. I wrote vanilla as like a new note, but I wasn't getting some of the other notes I was getting the first 2 sips. And the finish went back to being light. So weird. But we'll see when I go back and forth, you know, after water and drinking A-Bing it and seeing how it does. But that is so weird when stuff like that happens. Like, why can't you just be good like the second sip? Like, the second sip was the best sip for that one. Okay, let's go to D. All right, again, you're following along where they're all very different from each other. D is one of the most unique things I don't think I've ever said these notes. Cantaloupe, right away, like summer fruits, melons, cantaloupe, like watermelon, like those types of fruits with some oak, some sweetness. That was very different, especially after the first 3. And again, I said after I think the 3rd one that they're very different. So the finish, chocolate, oak, sweet, slightest red Jolly Rancher. It was very, very slight. And there's some of these summer fruits. I don't know if they're actually called summer fruits. In my head, I eat melons and watermelon, cantaloupe, honeydew melons, that kind of stuff during the summertime. So just like associating that with summer fruits in my head. You tell me. I am not the world's best farmer or anything like that. Very summer fruit drink. So let's go to second sip. All right, the second sip, coming off of itself, I got a little bit more vanilla, a slight permanent black marker note. This would be the sip. We're not going to say bottle because who knows. But at least in that sip, I kind of enjoyed that slight permanent black marker note because it kind of balanced out the summer fruits and everything else going on. And it wasn't like the thing that I was thinking about was that permanent black marker note. It was just kind of there in the background. The finish is good. It's got this like spicy oaky note that I really enjoy. Third sip. A little nuttiness on the finish this time. I really do enjoy D. So D and A are definitely kind of pushing themselves to the front so far. So let's go to E. There's been clearly like 2 that are winning and 2 that were in the back. So it's gonna make my life easier when I A-B these, I guess. I don't like E. Oh my God. I didn't even write a single note. I was just trying to find good notes and they never came to me. Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna give it a second sip. It was so astringent. I did not like that. Let's go to the second sip and see what happens here. Did it get better on the second sip? Tiniest bit. Light, astringent, woody, dark fruit. Finished dark fruit, astringent, woody. Not my favorite. Nope. I did not like that. One more sip. I just wrote young this time. I'm not the biggest fan. Finish had an okay note just now, but still not my favorite. Well, I'm going to take a break here anyways. Drink some water, and then I'm going to drink some water, drink all these, A-B them, and come back with my final scores and see how they all do in the end. Be right back. All right, that was much harder than I thought it was gonna be, and very surprising results in the end. So let's do giveaway first. If you want to enter to win 2-ounce samples of all 5 of these Remuses, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment with Remus26, REMUS 26, all one word, and it'll be entered in. You guys know how I do this. I drink water before all of them, take 2 sips, we kind of score them, and then I A-B them all. So after going the first round, I had A and D as like my winners. A kept going down, and 1 kind of passed it. So in last place, oh, another thing, for last place also, we had something fighting for second. We had another thing fighting for last place. So between last place was, E was definitely my last place, but B just got worse. I wrote ethanol as an additional note when I was A-Bing it. So B, the new one. And I think I said at the beginning of the video where I said, oh, you know, it has to be pretty bad for you not to buy this for like $65 finished in 4 different things. I agree with what I said. I don't think it is worth $65 because I think it is actually that bad. I scored a 2.7. If you guys know, I score everything 1 through 5, and 3 is like the middle. So anything under a 3 is not that good. And I don't score too much things under a 3. I had this above a 3 when I said 3.25 going through it, but the more I drank it, the more I just like, no, it's not worthy of that, especially versus E, which came in 4th place with 2.8. And that didn't actually change scores. This one just kept going down because I'm like, well, I like that one better than this one, so it can't be a higher score. So again, this one, this Babe Ruth, the black label one, definitely not worth 150 when it scores a 2.8. And I'm pretty sure I said that in the past. I had higher hopes for this Experimental 2. And then I went to go look at my notes because I was like, what is going on here? I thought I scored these pretty high. I didn't score this one pretty high. I actually scored this one not that well. I called it grainy on one of our whiskey cigar clubs. So it makes sense because that's kind of what I was saying today. It was very young to me. So unfortunately, not biggest fan of the Experimental 2. If you guys had it, please let me in the comments and tell me your thoughts about it. You know, something that's finished in 4 different things. To me, this is 100% one of those examples of you have bad whiskey and you're trying to save it by finishing in other things. That's what this to me is. Apologize, I guess. You know, I've been to MGP. I like the people there. Like, I don't want to shit on them, but I didn't like this one. So then we did 4th. Now we go 3rd place. And that's the Experimental 1, which was pretty decent. I do like this, 3.6. It started coming off a little crafty to me, A being it, and that's kind of what made it go down because it was tied for 1st, but still decent for $65. I'm not mad at this one. This one's decent for the price. No complaints coming out of me, but you know, that was last year's version, so I don't know how easy it is to find now. This is more to kind of see how the newer releases go against the older releases, and well, at least one of them did do so well. So then it comes down to 2 Babe Ruths, and our winner is the new Lou Gehrig. Is this worth $130? Maybe. I scored 3.9. The white label Babe Ruth, I scored 3.8, so kind of right there with each other. I do like the new Lou Gehrig, but even for $130, you know, it's on the cusp of a 4 and a 3.9. It's right there. I think if you're like a Yankees fan or a baseball fan or a Lou Gehrig fan, you know, this is something you have to have just because of the whole Lou Gehrig thing. If you're just a regular bourbon person, I don't think you need to spend $130 on this. If you're someone like me and you buy them all, I would guess I would be buying it too, but this is, I don't think, something that is so special that you have to spend over $100 for it. This was more like $75. I would recommend it for what it is, but I think the price point, even coming down $20 from the Babe Ruths, is still a little bit too expensive for what it is. But that's just my opinion. You tell me in the comments if you've had any of these, what are your thoughts on them, and we'll discuss there. Don't know the stupid, and if you do, don't get caught. Bye.